not now.
Block me. Okay, we are unmuted, and I'm going to go ahead and transition over. Okay, everybody, welcome to well, it's not Wine Wednesday, but we're just practicing and having fun with it. And the big coins you see, I will explain later. However, I have Ray with me, and let me see if I can get him up. And what I'm needing from anybody who happens to join or watch the stream is I need to know if you can hear me, if you can hear Ray, if we're freezing, and of course I will be checking these afterwards. But I messed with a bunch of settings, and after this test, we're also going to test a couple of different um, software options. But I want to get this right so we can have a good Wine Wednesday. Anyhow, Ray, say hello.
Hello.
And Ray is here with us, so anybody who wants to join, please, you're more than welcome. I did put the link in the chat. And Ray, what you up to tonight? You said you're watching hockey?
Yeah, watching Toronto Maple Leafs play Washington.
Nice, nice. And which team are you rooting for?
Well, Toronto Maple Leafs, of course. I'm Canadian.
Of course. I'm so sorry. Silly me.
But then again, yesterday afternoon and this afternoon, I was rooting for University of Maine.
Yeah? So what?
I have a granddaughter that has a 4-year scholarship there.
Nice.
So I can get the stream on. I have a laptop that I bought just for when she was playing for Team Canada. I couldn't get out west to see her, or when she was down in the States, Lake Placid, I think, where they played the U.S. girls team. So I bought a laptop to pick up the stream, and then an HDMI cable that goes from the laptop to the TV, so I can sit back and watch the game on TV.
Nice. I mean, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it is when I can't get to see her anymore.
Right.
I'm used to being able to see her play when she was all going up playing through the different stages of hockey and then playing as a junior. Then I could at least see the games that were here in London. I can't travel well because of my spine, but at least the London games I would get out to see.
Man, I mean, I really hate that you don't get to see them all, but I think it's so cool that you're able to, figure it out. That's very cool. And that's what we're doing tonight, folks, just for the record. We're just testing. And I did get a comment that my audio is not as loud as Ray's. So thank you, Kevin. And
you're welcome.
It's not
and I hear you.
Oh, and Kevin's in. Okay, and it's not filling up the entire window. What now? What is that?
Correct. Yeah. I'll take a screenshot and send it to you. But I think it's just your background. Your Wine Wednesday background is maybe like 70–80% of the screen, and the chat goes below the background too. But I think maybe it's a scaling issue or something. But
let's just see, shall we? Thank you, anyone who's watching and bearing with me.
I clicked the chat sidebar off.
You what?
I clicked it off.
Oh,
that chat bar.
It's not you. It's these. It's that there's 500 million settings, and I'm giving basically. I think that Hangouts is the problem. So what I really want from people is to let me know how Ray looks, and you look fabulous,
Ray.
Just for the record. But I just want to know because Kevin, you're absolutely right, and I'm seeing that it's off now, and I'm trying to fix it as we go. But what I was going to say is that what I typically have a problem with is the people in the Hangout. And so I'm looking into Twitch, I'm looking into XSplit, and all. I've got like 3 different things I'm looking at. But anyhow.
I imagine you're capturing the screen and rebroadcasting it for incorporating Ray's video and me into the feed. Yeah, it looks good. I think by doing so, obviously, if I look at the actual Google Hangout window, I can't see you. Right. But if I look at the delay feed, I can see you and I can see the comments, and I think it looks really cool.
She's not putting her picture up there. She's got a seahorse picture up instead.
Yeah.
See, I warn them all every time I get them in here, and I'm trying to fix this this off. I don't know how it got off, but I'm trying to fix that right as we speak. But yes, yeah, I warn everybody when they come stream that they won't be able to see me until they watch the replay. And I do not like that, but it is what it is. And I really am looking at maybe using something other than Hangouts. It's just that YouTube, makes it so easy to use Hangouts. So just trying to see what I can do here. And Ann Jones, you said you can hear Ray, but you can't hear me. I'm thinking that that's because I'm using the handy dandy microphone on my webcam that's supposed to be so fabulous. We've invested in a microphone, so that'll be fixed soon. Apologies. Hopefully you can hear me a little better if I speak up. And definitely feedback is what I want, so give it to me. I haven't even looked to see what people on YouTube are saying. Sorry. Lucy's sick. It's been one of those days, But anyhow, well, let's see. Since I've got Kevin and Ray here, Kevin, what's up in your world? What's going on?
Oh, just working, prepping for next year and taking care of all the loose ends from last year. I was going to say real quick that in here, I'm not sure if you changed anything for the audio in the last 2 minutes, but in the Google Hangouts, you're a lot more balanced than in the playback on Facebook. I haven't listened to the audio on YouTube, but I think it's probably the same. But I'm not sure if you changed that or not.
I have not touched anything. The only things that I'm messing with right now are in Streamlabs. And so I'm guessing it's because I moved forward and that messed it up. I don't know. But either way, I have a very good system for the microphone coming. I went out to try to buy one, and I live in a, kind of podunk town. So there was nothing that I wanted to spend money on, so I had to order it. And so if you are having trouble hearing me, that will be fixed next week. Apologies to you guys in Hangouts. And cool. Thank you for the feedback, definitely. And I'm seeing some things. I'm honestly, actually, I would love opinions for anybody who does look at this or see this, whether it's during the stream or afterwards. Do you like the chat being displayed? Because I could do a lot more with seeing what's going on if I did not have the chat displayed. But and like myself sitting here talking to you, I can't even see it or read it. I have to go to another screen. So if everybody doesn't care about the chat, I could nix it. But I'm just curious what you guys think. So definitely comment, please. And
You mean you can't click on that sidebar and bring the chat up?
well, the chat, that's the funny part, is the chat you're talking about, Ray, is the Hangouts chat. And the audience would not see that. The audience sees, yeah, see, again, what Dan,
That chat that's on YouTube?
yes, the chat that's on YouTube.
That
And
sidebar.
what Dan suggested last week is that I'm trying to do too much, which is typical of me and probably true. And so, like right now we're live in 3 or 4 places. So, that's probably part of the problem. But, and so I'm bringing all the chat from all of those places into one place, but it's not gathering the Hangouts. So what you say in Hangouts, I'm not even seeing at all. And I can't see, the screen is just not big enough on my end. Maybe another monitor. I don't know. If you guys like the chat and like seeing it in the replay, and you don't want to have to look at the comments, which are just below, then just let me know. I'm just trying to make this to where we can all come together and have fun instead of all these problems every week because I'm sick of it.
I use that chat on YouTube when I'm not on live like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I use the chat bar. Then I've made comments there
I know you have.
pretty well every time I've been on. And I noticed that other people are using it to talk back and forth too, and they aren't on the mainstream. Now maybe they get onto it later or something after I've left. I don't know.
Well, no, you're right, and it's I'm sorry, I don't mean to be distracted. I'm trying to fix make it spread through the.
I'm going to have to leave here in a minute.
And that's okay. I literally have a rant to rant about. So if you have to go, Kevin, if you have to go, no biggie. Thank you so much for the feedback and help. Wine Wednesday will be spectacular no matter what you do, darn it. But
No, I have time.
actually, really quick before you guys go, Ray,
Yeah.
anything new to say about the seahorses? We had this fabulous chat Wednesday, and it didn't get taped. So, anything you want to share? What's going on with your seahorses? Anything?
I just happened to notice on the screen here, I had a seahorse upside down. I turned around and
Well,
look.
they do that, but yeah.
I just want to make sure he doesn't have a poach problem.
Actually, Ray, I have a really quick question for you.
Yep.
If you're, and then Kevin, I have one for you, and then I'll let you go too. I know you're busy. Ray, if you had a seahorse that was magnificently yellow and beautiful and doing great and eating like a champ, but then you noticed that the tail was darkening and his spouse seahorse had even further tail difficulties, what would be your course of action? If you noticed, literally,
I don't know
the
my
female.
tail difficulties.
Sorry.
Like tail darkening doesn't mean a thing to me.
Well, let me be more specific. The female literally went paralyzed, and I had to, like, she couldn't swim. She was at the bottom of the tank, couldn't swim. I had to put her in a quarantine and treat her with bacterial, stuff. And so I'm just curious if you had any thoughts or had heard of this.
Well, if I couldn't see any sign of anything, then the first thing I do is the 12-minute dip.
Okay.
And if there's extreme thrashing around it to begin with, then I know there's parasites there. Whether that's the cause of the problem or not, I don't always know until a little bit of time has passed. It was just a case of following up. After the freshwater dip, I'd be putting it into the hospital tank anyway.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it back in the main tank until I know that the problem is resolved. So if I put it in the main tank and hasn't improved after the dip, then I'd start on the acetazolamide
Right.
and Furan 2.
Gotcha.
Except now I'm out of Furan 2. I haven't had to use Furan 2 for probably 2 years now.
Isn't that a wonderful feeling when you don't have to use it? Well, two last quick questions. Somewhere I had read, and I maybe it was Dan, I'm not sure, but if a seahorse has something bacterial going on, can't the freshwater dip be detrimental? Or am I wrong?
Not that I can see.
Okay.
Like if there is a bacterial problem, the freshwater dip shouldn't affect anything
At all.
any bacteria at all, and especially if it's internal. If it's an internal bacteria, then you have to use something like the metronidazole. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I can't pronounce it.
And if I think there's any chance that it's an internal organ problem, liver or kidney, for instance, then I'll use the acetazolamide. Well, you call it Diamox, but my bottle is acetazolamide.
So you use that for any internal stuff, like if it's
If I figure there's an internal problem that's affecting the organs.
very cool. That's interesting. I honestly.
That's just a personal thing. It's something that evolved over many years. Like I guess I'm into my 16th year now.
Sure. I mean, it makes sense. It does make sense. I get it.
And each year, or after I got about 10 years, then I started realizing that I wasn't doing enough to keep the water quality up, bacteria-wise. And because there are no test kits that you can use, the only solution was to find a point where I wasn't having any problems, and then just keep up that protocol with the water changes and the cleaning and so on, and don't slack off. And over the years since then, I had periods where I did slack off, especially when the spine is really bad. But now I'm just plain making a point that every Sunday well, in this case, I did it today because I won't have time tomorrow with other things. But every Sunday, I do about a 90 to 98% water change and clean the tank up. And I've got the yeah, Rolfos, have that running all the time. And so I haven't had any problems until I saw that seahorse upside down there now.
Well, now
But
you got me worried. Oh no.
he's gone upright again now.
Oh, good. See, I mean, they
But
do that. Go ahead.
but I have to do larger changes because this is what they call a 40-gallon tall, which only holds 37 gallons. The sump is 20-gallon sump, but all the rock is in there, so I'm guessing there's only maybe 7 or 8 gallons of water in it,
Gotcha.
and I have seahorses in it.
Wow. How do you pull that off?
Well, see, I used to have just a pair of seahorses in the tank, but it was too much work for me to clean all those tanks and then do the abs tank as well. The abs tank is a 90,
Gotcha.
and there's 5 abs in the 90.
Are they doing
But
pretty well?
oh yeah,
Good.
well, I lost one after I first got them. He gave birth to all dead fry, and 2 days after that, he was dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
And
that.
but whether it's something due from shipping because they came from Australia, and they were 2 days getting here.
Right.
So whether it's something to do with that or not, I have no idea. But ever since then, and that tank is not a problem because I don't have to change water so often in that one because the highest the temperature ever gets is 68 degrees.
Nice. I swear you just hit on a key factor. Temperature is huge. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
But
But keeping the crap out of the water, out of your filters, I don't have filtration other than filter socks and what's called quick filters that go on my Hagen power heads.
right. I know
And
some.
I snap the quick filter off, take it downstairs, and I have a hose with a nozzle on it with all those multiple settings on it. And I put it on the jet and sit there and clean out the filter part, throw it back on again, and good to go for another 3 or 4 days.
Nice. Okay. Well,
And
go ahead.
I change the filter sock at the same time.
Well, listen, Ray. If you need to get back to your hockey, it's totally cool. But I do. I'm gonna start sending you the link every single time, just so you know. So
Yeah.
you don't always have to click it. But I want you to come because you share such valuable information. And
Any night,
go ahead.
any night that there's a Maple Leafs hockey game or any Friday or Saturday, usually when my granddaughter's playing, I'm not available at those time periods. But
Gotcha. Hey, family first, absolutely. And I hear you. And I'm just letting you know if you happen to see the link and want to come in, you're always welcome because I love talking to you and your experience. People with experience like you just make all the difference. So I appreciate you.
okay, I started at the same time. I maybe started maybe 6 months or so before him, but he's been able to do a lot more research at my age, and because I have cognitive impairment now, I can't go and learn things the way he can.
Right.
If I do the research, I'm not going to remember it.
I mean, I hear you.
Unfortunately,
Well, you know what? At least you have age to, or and cognitive impairment. Is that what you said? At least you have that to blame. I don't remember stuff that I heard like 5 minutes ago, and I don't have an excuse. So it is what it is. But
anyway, okay, I'm going to sign off now, and we'll talk again.
thank you so much for coming, Ray, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, and everybody.
Just out of curiosity, what state do you live in?
Me, I live in Indiana. Believe it or not, little place of nowhere.
So how long a drive is it to get to Dan?
Oh, to Dan? He's in Florida. It's like I
I
don't
know you
know,
were talking about
a day.
2
But you're-
days.
no, because I can drive to Florida in a day.
Well, just to let you guys know, the reason that Ray asked is because the last stream that didn't get broadcast because my settings were messed up, we were discussing a documentary type where I'm going to go and literally show you guys the life of a breeder. So I am going to go, but it will take me a day or two to get there for, yeah. So I can't just go visit when I want, but it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Okay.
Thank you, Ray.
Good night.
You're awesome.
Right.
Thanks. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Kevin, I'm just putting, I'm not even
Kelly.
going to put you up. But anyways, tell me what's going on.
That's all right.
So tell me about MACNA 2019. What do I got to look forward to?
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Oh.
Well, it's August 30th, September 1st. It's at Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin Resort.
Yes.
And if you haven't bought your tickets already, now, whenever you're listening to this, go to macna.org, and now is the cheapest time to buy. If your club is hosting an event, if you have a frag swap coming up, if you have a Mazda speaker, you can ask your club board to come contact us at MACNA, and we can send you not only some $10 off codes, but we can send you some full conference tickets to raffle off at your raffle, or even to give away how your club sees fit. And there's a bunch of other swag that we can send to give away or to have in a raffle. So there's heaps of options there. But we're in just right outside of Orlando, to south. If you guys don't know where that is, right next to Epcot. So really, if you're capable and willing to walk 10 minutes, you can walk right to Epcot, or else you can take the there's like a shuttle bus to all the Disney resorts that's for free, or else you can take if you're familiar with Epcot in the middle, around the worlds, you have the water where they have the laser show and the fireworks at night. That water, that lake actually connects right over to the hotel. So you can actually take a little shuttle boat right from the hotel right to the gates of Epcot and jump right in. So as a course, kids 17 and under are free for MACNA, and there are some benefits with staying at the resort for Disney as far as extra magic hours, and we have the opportunity to have breakfast with the characters, so like Goofy or Snoopy or whomever, not Snoopy, sorry, all the Disney characters can be available at breakfast. So I was there visiting recently, and sure enough, Goofy came up to me and wanted to take a photo with me while I was eating breakfast with my family. So it's an amazing experience. So it's a family-friendly event, but more importantly to you, Kelly, is that we're having an aquaculture focus. And so we will be talking. Yeah, we will be talking about all things aquaculture, and celebrating aquaculture is the official theme. So we'll have roughly about half of our speakers focusing on all the various aspects of aquaculture and where we're at that time. And so it's always difficult from a speaker point of view. People are constantly asking me, even up until April or May, hey, there's still like 2 or 3 speaker slots open. Who are they going to be? Who's going to be speaking? I have to say, you know what? I have those speaker slots open because I'm not sure what new breakthroughs will be coming here. Sorry about the car in the background. Let me close the door real quick.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure what advancements are going to happen, in May, June, July, August. So I always got to make sure, just like with the blue tang and the yellow tang, the blue tang breakthrough from right before MACNA 2016 was a last-second edition, and that speaker room was packed. And so we want to make sure that any breakthroughs are acknowledged. But we're going to have everything from, hey, I'm an at-home breeder, or I want to be an at-home breeder. How do I start? To what the heck is this macroalgae kind of thing, and what do I have to do with it? To how do I even quantify how much algae to add, or what do I do with all these clownfish once I breed them? And kind of from a business standpoint, wait, do I want to be breeding clownfish? Should I be breeding other things? And we're going to have a speaker about how to approach your local fish stores or maybe your regional distributors and say, I'd like to breed some things. Can you purchase at wholesale these fish that I'm going to breed, or rather, what fish are you interested in obtaining? That's from a captive bred point of view and a local point of view. So we're going to have all sorts of things. We're going to ramp that all the way up to some commercial talks. I'm going to have to speak with some of the larger firms. And no,
well, you said
I'm presenting to everyone. You did.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I do need to get that microphone, but so you mentioned that there will be a lot of macro and captive breeding and stuff. So I'll be looking for the invite in my email. But no, I'm just kidding.
But we're gonna have meetups again too. How was your meetup?
And I will be doing meetups. Absolutely, y'all will find me there for sure. And I totally understand that you have to wait till the last minute for all the speakers because if something amazing happened, how would that look if you didn't have room to get them in there? So I get it totally. Have you noticed? I'm sure you don't have the numbers on you, so this is a spur of the moment question. But have you noticed that a lot of people seem to be signing up so that they will bring their kids this year, since it is, Mickey and Goofy, or do you not have enough information yet? Say that.
So we actually don't charge anything for any child 17 under, apart from the banquet or reception, and so we can see. Yeah, we can see those those numbers early on if their parents or the adults who are bringing them choose to buy a reception or banquet ticket with them. But we're not too sure from a hotel point of view. I could look that up. I haven't looked behind the scenes as far as the makeup of each individual room, whether or not whoever is making the hotel reservation is indicating how many people they have in the room is a different story. But children are free in the hotel room with the bedding included, and I think there's like a small nominal fee, something like $20 a day or a night rather, for a cot if you need an extra bed or an extra place to sleep if you don't want if you don't want to sleep on the ground and your kid on the bed, depending upon where you want to sleep and where.
Yeah.
Well, some people come to MACNA no matter the hotel price. Even I remember back to MACNA 2011 and this past MACNA, we had a really amazing hotel rates for the area, and people were sleeping 4 or 5 per room anyways. Like, oh, there's a space on my floor, you can sleep there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anything to come to MACNA. So.
Well, hey, I room with Cindy. If you guys don't know Cindy, I'll put her Instagram in the comments. She's amazing. And we roomed together at every MACNA, and we got off very good this past year. So I was extremely happy myself. And I'm sure you guys.
There's no sleeping at MACNA anyways.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you got to be up late to get the hat, right? But anyways. The one question I have to ask you, and I'll delete it if you want me to, but have you gotten Tal to agree to come yet? Is he going to speak?
Oh, I don't know.
I was just curious.
You've caught me off guard. I'm not sure. I think I haven't publicly listed Tal, if you're ever listening to this, or if people want to go harass Tal Sweet. I believe Tal is speaking. Tal told me he was speaking. I think I still have him listed as a speaker. And so in other words, I think, just real quick too. Go ahead. I'll go ahead. No, you go. I was going to say, there's a delay, so you go ahead. I have a huge speed of light problem.
No, you're okay. All I was going to say is that everyone needs to go to Tal Sweet's Facebook page and say, "Are you speaking? Where can we find you?" He'll love it. He's going to love this. Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
Well, we have him listed as a speaker, and so this past week I've been reviewing all of the MACNA 2018 recordings of the speakers. I think we ended up recording 24 or 25 of the 30 or 31 we ended up having, and so once I finish reviewing all of those, we'll start releasing those out into the wild. So Tal was one of those people, along with many of our other MACNA 2018 speakers. But yeah, Tal, I would hope to have him, with his vast knowledge and especially with his connections and being the president of the Marine Breeding Initiative, making sure that he's speaking as well. So we've announced, I want to say 6 speakers so far, and we're going to aim to probably have around 25, 26. That's our typical number. Last year for our 30th anniversary, we had 30 speakers. But that was tough with concurrent sessions, and I offset them to make sure that people could at least attend parts of speakers. But I think we want to make sure that everyone knows that most of the speakers are recorded. Speakers can choose not to be recorded for various purposes, or various legal purposes. Some choose not to be. But yeah, we can always, I never get to go to any of the talks. I think I managed to come into a couple of your meetups, yes. And a couple of talks right in the end. But yeah, this is how I get to see them all is after the fact on YouTube. So
Well, just to let anyone watching that watches this afterwards know, I didn't get to see any of this talks either, to be completely honest, because I was busy doing the meetups, and you just don't sleep at Magna. He's not kidding. And so it's very good for me and for you and for everyone that they do release most of the speaker talks, because they are very good. And I do want to, I hope I'm allowed, well, yeah, I'm allowed to say this. At the Women in Reefing Get Together 2018, it's Tamara, right? Tamara Marshall? Is that how you pronounce it? Tamara?
yeah,
Okay. Tamara.
Tamara, I think.
Tamara. I always
Yeah.
mispronounce her name, and I apologize.
That's
Tamara.
all right.
Because she's amazing, and she's so gifted in not only understanding like all of the breeding aspects of the algae. She works for the Dallas World Aquarium, and she's actually going to be a speaker, and she's going to be a Women in Reefing speaker at 2019, and she's going to do an amazing job. She did really great things at MBI workshop, and I can't wait to see her. So I'm going to make sure that I get to that speech. So Kevin, I'm giving you a request right now. Please make sure that the Women in Reefing and any kind of seahorse get-togethers are not at the same time as Tamara's speech. Please. But
I'll try. No promises. It's always a challenge. I think for 18 it was especially a challenge because of the concurrent nature of the speakers. But I think I had like maybe 15 different tabs and an Excel file with all the various drafts of the schedule. But if you guys are interested in having your own meetup, this is just for your general audience. You have the Women in Reefing. You have, I think you had a seahorse get together. There's also a marine breeding get together. I think Tal's actually already signed up for that one. But if you guys are interested, you can go to macna.org, and then on the bottom is a contact button. And on that contact page, you can indicate, hey, I'm from the Indiana Marine Aquarium Society, or I'm from the Tallahassee Marine Aquarium Society, and I want to have a meeting. I want to have a meetup. Hey, I am someone who only deals with non-photosynthetic temperate anemones, and I want to meet fellow temperate anemone people. You can choose to have a meetup. But they are community-led, and that's something we had very strong feedback from one of the sessions that we didn't have someone leading. It was my idea to have it, but unfortunately, I could not lead it. So in your meetups, for example, you had you were kind of the moderator of sorts, and you kind of pushed it around. But one of them, no one was leading, and when you get a whole bunch of people together, go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think I saw that somehow. I don't know if it was like a broadcast somehow as a joke. I remember seeing that where you walked in and you said, "So this is the meetup. Have fun," and walked out. And I was like,
yeah, yeah.
So we need
yeah, I was like, you need mods. So, but they're community led. So if you have an interest group, if you have a Marine Aquarium Society, I think this past year we had 3 or 4 clubs met at MACNA. Even a freshwater club had to get together at MACNA. And so I think I got to look at the physical space for next year, but we can at least have as many meetups as we did in 2018 at MACNA 2019. So I think it's like 12 or 13, and I have space, I think potentially for concurrent meetups even. There's always too much to do at a MACNA, and you can't go see it all. And so you can just bring everyone else, bring everyone from your club. One really cool thing I saw this past weekend, or maybe right now, even as we speak, the Dallas-Fort Worth Marine Aquarium Society is having a MACNA 2018 recap meeting. So they bring in everyone that from their club that went to the meeting or went to MACNA, and they all bring back the swag, and they bring back stories, and they share what they learned with the rest of their club. And I think fortunately for them, they have one of the speakers we had at MACNA 2018 is a member of their club. However, I'm not sure if that speaker is in attendance at the meeting tonight, but it is always an opportunity to share with the rest of your club what you learned and what you saw. And I gotta think back to what club it was. I think it was the Twin Cities Marine Aquarium Society in Minnesota. Maybe right after MACNA 2016, or maybe after MACNA 2017, they had a meeting just in the middle of the winter where they actually replayed some of the MACNA talks from that year in a meeting. And then they actually had the presenter call in after they watched the talk to be able to, answer more questions. And so that, I think is a great resource we have. I did a count right before MACNA 2018. I think it's safe to say we had more than 400,000 views on all of the MACNA speaker videos from 3 of the past 4 MACNAs. So they're a great educational resource, for individual, for clubs. And I hope that, especially for MACNA 2019, we can record a lot of these aquaculture talks and we can spread the knowledge of all sorts of aspects of aquaculture and the marine aquarium industry in general, because half the talks will be just general marine aquarium stuff as well. So.
Well, see, now you've just educated me a little bit on my place, because I'm going to message and bug you after this, because, I could tape all these talks and these side get-togethers. That would be cool. No, actually, I could give you some names, though, really, of some really great people that tape these different types of events and do it just because they love it and would share it just because they love it. So we'll talk later. But
yeah, so we have to be really careful with this kind of stuff. So we work with our speakers to make sure that they don't have any copyright material. And we've had, unfortunately, some very strange stuff happen in the past with YouTube and copyright stuff. So we have a lot of very prominent scuba divers and deep water fish collectors, and they often will sell their video to National Geographic or other places. And so we've had MACNA videos flagged for copyright because a large television channel will come and say, we own the rights to this video, it is ours. And then we turn around and say, well, the person who was speaking in this video is actually the original videographer or the person in the film, and they are the ones who own the rights to sell to you. But we don't, it cost me an arm and a leg to fight a legal battle with YouTube. And so, I have a talk with the speaker and I say, what do you want to do? Here's how much I'm willing to spend in tens of dollars. Here's a couple of hours I can push towards this. But
that's crazy.
Yeah. I think if you want to find those talks, if you want to find the MACNA talks from the past, the easiest way, right at the moment, I need to fix this, but if you go to MASNA, MASNA.org, and there's a MACNA thing in the menu up on top, and you just hover over MACNA and go down to MACNA 2017, MACNA 2016, or MACNA 2014, and there I have in one place all of the talks from those years. I believe they're all recorded by one of our sponsors, Bulk Reef Supply, and they do all the editing and they do all the correspondence with me and with the speaker to make sure everything's good. They do all the live capture, and so they go ahead and host that, and that's their sponsorship. So they're one of the sponsors of MACNA for that program. For, I guess this was the 4th time they've done that out of the last 5 years. We unfortunately weren't able to record MACNA 2015, but we'll have 4 of the last 5 years now recorded and hope to continue to do that. But yeah, you can go to masna.org, hover over MACNA, and drop down. And they're just all embedded, and you can watch them natively on YouTube. You can watch them on your phone, your television, you can watch them anywhere there's internet. So
I was going to say, check back tomorrow, and I will make sure to put this, I'm taking notes this time, and I will make sure to put that link in the comments or in the description, one or the other. So if I get it wrong, let me know. But
that's right.
It would be very cool to, with permission, get get-togethers taped, because I know you were talking about the reef clubs, and I actually spoke. I got asked to speak at one of the reef club get-togethers at MACNA 2018, and I think that was probably, as well for me anyways, as exhilarating and amazing as even the other ones that I hosted, however you want to say it, moderated, because they were really cool, and the reef club was so cool, and it was just very interesting to see how interested people are in the captive breeding, in the aquaculture, in the doing the right thing, and so on and so forth. And so, I'm kind of rambling, but it would be very cool to somehow get, with permission, the get-togethers also taped, because I'm not very good at tracking it, but I can tell you that Women in Reefing video got ridiculous exposure. Anyways,
Mhm.
anyways,
And you've developed a community from that too, right?
yes, we're developing. We're developing. It's been a rough time lately, but recovering from MACNA. But no, I'm just kidding.
Oh gosh.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But
I'm still recovering from Magna.
oh, I can't even imagine. So, what is there anything? Actually, if there's anything else you would like to tell us about MACNA, I wasn't prepared to interview you. So, anything
Oh,
you want to say, feel free. But is there anything new going on with MASNA? I'm curious.
so we have a quarterly program that allows MASNA to help get research kind of from behind a paywall out into the general public and out into the open. And so you might have come across more recently, as you're trying to search for something scientific, you want to download an article from a publisher.
Okay.
And then that publisher will ask you for $15 and you can download this paper. So in the academic world,
I'm interrupting you really
go ahead.
quickly to say Cheryl Taylor, tagging you right here because this is your thing. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. So oftentimes, as a former academic myself, I'll have hobbyists approach me and they say, "Hey, Kevin, can you help me get this article? There's some information, tucked away behind this paywall that I want to get a hold of." And usually I'll say, you can just contact the author. The author has the rights to go ahead and share that information with you. So in knowing this, oftentimes, there are breakthroughs that aren't apparent to the marine aquarium hobbyist community. So MASNA is doing its best to let scientists know in our industry that they can come to us and we can help offset the cost that they incur to put that information out into the public domain so that everyone can access for free. So rather than everyone paying a little bit, the publisher will charge the author a larger sum upfront. So that the world can have this information for free. But oftentimes, students or scientists won't have accounted for the cost of making that article open access when they petition their university or their funding body to have the research or to conduct the research. So by the end of the experiment, a year and a half later, when they've written the paper, they say, "Well, I don't have any money to make this open access, so I'm just going to get it out there. It's going to be a benefit for myself, and then hey, other academics can have it." So this way, MASNA can help the authors and the scientists put forward the money. And so this is a memorial fund. It's the Dr. Jundal Lin Memorial Fund for publishing open access marine aquarium research. We usually just call it the Jundal Lin Fund. And so scientists, students can apply for that fund. And so we just had, it's a quarterly program. We just had the third quarter for 2018 finish, and the committee and the subcommittee and I are reviewing those applicants, and we'll announce, we don't announce the winner of the fund until the until the paper is kind of published open access. So we have a recipient from the first quarter of this year who's still going back and forth with their journal.
Oh, no.
And so once that's all done and the paper is available, then we announce so that everyone can say, "Hey, this is actually really interesting." And I just provide a link at the bottom of the press release, and I say, "This paper is available for free. If you want to read it, here you go." And MASNA helps fund it. So that's something we have going on, and we're always once these educational articles come out, once the educational talks, the presentations from MACNA 2018 come out, we'll be making sure to tell all our members and all of the MACNA attendees, past and present, about them as well, and allow everyone to be able to watch them for free. So that's it's just amazing to be able to spread all that knowledge from MACNA and through MASNA to the world.
Yes, absolutely. And I have to give you guys, and everyone with MASNA and MACNA credit. I think it's so amazing that the focus for 2019's MACNA is so great. Let's just say that. I think it's amazing, and I just can't wait to go, and I can't wait to be there and see what all you have in store. How did the Kids Cove turn out? Are you going to continue doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was great. We had, I think, 330-ish children at MACA 2018. And so our challenge from year to year with MACNA now is we've grown to such a size to where we only really fit into about 15 places, 20 places in the US. And so MACNA 2018 was great in that we had a huge space for the showroom floor, and then on the same level that you had to walk through, honestly, we had the Kids Cove, we had the speaker rooms and everything. Many of the available spaces around the United States aren't on a single level. And so we'll have a Kids Cove, we'll have potentially some additional activities for children, which we haven't released yet publicly. But once we get those finalized, we'll be telling the world about those. But we'll have all those at MACA 2019 as well as the poster session, and we'll try to have the touch tank again. All the different options for everyone.
I am listening.
And yeah, the family friendly. It's going to be great. Oh, yeah, that's all right. I can't see you. You can't see me.
Well, I'm literally just trying to make sure that I'm not missing anything in chat, because if anyone does see this and you do send a message, my adorable and lovely Lucy, who moderates all chats when I'm on live stream, is sick. So it's just me, and we're just
no.
But this is important stuff, and
that's all right.
Kevin, honestly, I'll probably make a video of it. And honestly, I appreciate you coming in so much, because I'm looking at this and I'm looking at my stream, and we will get back to MACNA and MASNA in 1 second, and I'm sorry, but I have 0 drop frames, so I must have done something right. And
wow.
I do need to know if anybody sees freezing, and I'll go back and look. But I'm thinking that maybe this having people, like, I'm thinking that my webcam's okay, that when I move I don't freeze. And I've seen your little circle volume thing freeze, but I'm thinking maybe if people chose to talk instead, or I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, so this is helping me tremendously, and I'm looking at
you're welcome.
analytics, so this is helping me, so thank you. But back to Kids Cove, I actually did talk to some of them. I have so many MACNA videos that are still not finished. It's ridiculous. And I actually hooked up with the Real Reef Rock guys, and I'm going to do something really big with them, so that's coming. But okay, so what else? What else do you have to tell me about anything? Talk to me. It's Wine Saturday.
Talk to me. Oh, it's Wine Saturday. Well, it's wine. Yeah, definitely Wine Saturday night. I think we had sloppy Saturday wine. Super. Yeah, we need an S word, so it's alliterative. Yeah. I was going to say, I think we gave out, I think $13,000 or $14,000 to clubs around the world, honestly, or around North America at least, in free passes and discounts to MACNA. So I just want to let you guys know that we can help you help your raffle by contributing tickets to MACNA for your raffle and swag, so that you can help your club out. And there's always the $10 coupons. So we're in Florida this year. I said that earlier, but if people are joining in now. But so there's a lot of really convenient ways to get to Florida, whether by rail or car or plane, or I guess boat if you felt inclined. It would be difficult to get to Orlando, but you could at least get to Cape Canaveral by boat. So there's many different ways, but yeah, we can help support your club. We have another.
If any of you are going by boat, I want to go with you. And just to let you know, actually, Kevin, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do have one question, because for someone, let's just say that maybe someone that leads or runs a reef club. Typically, they're pretty smart, and they've been in this for a while, and they know how to do things. But for me, you did your absolute best. I give you 100% credit for helping me and trying to guide me on doing things with MACNA 2018 and in different scenarios like this, helping me with this. Thank you again. But I still, like, you'd send me a link, and I wouldn't get it. So my question is, how would you... Is there a link that I could provide to people who would like to get those passes or things like that for MACNA 2019 for the reef clubs or any kind of assistance like that, what address would you send them to? Can you give it to me so I can put it in the comments?
Yeah, you would just go to macna.org and click on contact.
Contact. Okay, so you
And
contact
on that,
and tell
yep,
them who you
the
are
contact page.
and what you do,
Yeah.
and go from there. See, that's where I messed up. Well,
And
I might be stupid. That's you know, it can happen.
That's all right. That's all right.
I didn't know, and so now I understand. So go on. Sorry.
No, on that contact page, it just asks you, what is this regarding? And you just select, yeah, you would like the MACNA 2019 pass donation for your raffle. And when you click that button, it will ask you a couple more questions about your event. And so you can say how much your event name, the URL, the date, you know, who's in charge of the event, where it is, how the raffle, or excuse me, how the passes, the tickets will be raffled off, or whether you're going to give them away. So we just need know a little bit more information about you and your club. But yeah, you can request it there. Just go to macna.org and click on contact, and you can read all about MACNA. There's heaps of other information about MACNA there too, obviously.
Sure.
But you can go there. That's the easiest way.
Well, for anyone who didn't know that, because I didn't, so you know, you're not dumb if you didn't know that. And I'll put that comment in the description because, you know, a lot of people could benefit from this, and we want more people at MACNA. This is a good thing. It's you know, it's making a huge difference. Kevin, can you tell me how much have you seen MACNA grow since you started working with MASNA and MACNA? Has it grown a huge
Yeah, how much have I seen it grow? Yeah. So this past year was the second largest MACNA ever. I think we had 6,270 something ticketed days. So I think that's just short of MACNA 2015, which was the largest.
Okay.
So I think MACNA 2010 was my first one, and that was in Orlando as well. And that was, I think, 2,500. So we've pretty much more than doubled. I think our 5-year running average at the moment is something like 5,600 ticketed days. So we've gone from 2,500 in 2010 up to about 6,300-ish this past year, but a 5,600 average. So we've basically doubled. And in doing so, we have to have a larger showroom floor, and we have to have a bigger hotel or more hotels. We now have more than 250 booths, and usually about 150 or more exhibitors, because exhibitors can take up more than one booth. And so we have to, when I go and look for a space, I ask them a couple simple questions. I say, how many people can stay in this hotel? How many hotel rooms do you have? How big is your showroom floor? And do you have room for my speakers? Those are the simplest questions. And oftentimes they say, oh, I only have space for 100 booths, or 100 exhibitors. And I say, well, I can't have this. I need a bigger space. Right. So it's grown to a point now where, we're not as big as Comic-Con. Obviously, Comic-Con is just humongous. But we need these large spaces. So Orlando is really going to be able to accommodate us this year. I think when we were in Orlando before, we were at a hotel convention center, and just I think south in Kissimmee, technically, or maybe just in the outskirts of Orlando. And it was an all-inclusive kind of resort. Everything was in-house. And for those, I think I arrived Wednesday and left Monday. I never left the hotel. For me, MACNA, it doesn't really matter where it is, because everything I want to do is under that same roof. Everyone I want to see is there. I think I ran into you at some crazy hour, late at night or early in the morning, right? And, I was there until Wednesday this past year, and I still saw people, and Wednesday after MACNA, I still saw people on Tuesday night who recognized me even without my hat on. And so I was able to, they were like, Kevin, you're still here. I'm like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still working. But we've grown to such an extent to where we can be all under one roof, and we can all be in one facility, and we can still see people before and after the event. This year, last year at 2018, this year at 2019, we try to make sure that there's something else to do there, though. So for the rest of the people of your family who may not be into marine aquariums, we want them to come along. We want them to have a family experience, but we want them to be able to do something as well. So this year, it is extremely family friendly. You can bring your significant other, your offspring, your own parents. your children, your cousins, your nephews, whomever, and you can give them the opportunity to go and see all that the Orlando area has to offer. But then you can make sure that you attend MACNA and see all your fishy friends. I don't get to spend as much time outside the hotel as I like, but honestly, I try to make sure that I see everyone. Everyone at some point. I might just be able to see you for 15 seconds, or I might be able to see you for even 10 minutes. If I get to see someone from 10 minutes, that's amazing. I think I saw you maybe for 10 minutes, Kelly.
Well, P.S. Everyone,
combined.
P.S. Everyone, he carries around a portable phone charger, so you can see him, get him. But yeah, I was gonna say, I think you guys, I think you did an excellent job, and now unfortunately, I'm gonna have to delete this stream because now my kids are gonna want to come, and Kelly doesn't take kids to MACNA. But, no, I might actually, to be completely honest, because it is going to be a cool experience, and with the Kids Cove and everything, else, it's really, you've really taken care of everything anybody could want. And if anyone doubts that, when I first got into this hobby and started going to the shows, I went to a few that were smaller, and they were mainly about selling. That's not at all what MACNA is about. I mean, of course, there are vendors there explaining their products and selling, but it really is more than that. You hear the speakers that are telling you their experiences and their knowledge and sharing it, and then you get to actually talk to these vendors and find out why their product is better, and ask the questions that you could never get to ask in on a video or in that type of situation. And it's just, I can't say enough good things about MACNA because it's amazing. It truly is. I've been to a couple different events, and there's nothing like MACNA ever. So. And Mazda is amazing too, of course, in their work.
Thank you.
I did have a question. One more. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say MACNA boils down to 3 words. It's something that we developed, last year when Mazda took over kind of the running of the show. It's education, trade, and community. So we want to make sure that there's always an educational aspect to the show through the speakers, through the meetups. The trade aspect is through the showroom floor, where you can interact with all of our exhibitors. And like you mentioned so many times, and I've mentioned so many times, it's the community. It's the people that you see, the friends that you only see once a year, maybe twice a year. You see them at MACNA. And it's the relationships that you build at all hours of the day, which is why that we always try to let people know that MACNA is more than the showroom floor. It's the after hours, the early hours, the crazy breakfasts, dinners, and all of the interactions that you have. So stay where MACNA is, and you can get the full experience. It's all 3: the education, the trade, and the community.
I have a perfect example of that. I told you that I always room with my lovely every single year, but we were trying to be cheap, just to be honest, and we stayed at a. It was her idea. It was her idea. Blame her. Okay, but
you didn't.
Cindy, blame Cindy. We stayed at Circus down the street. It wasn't even a MACNA night, technically. It was like the Thursday.
Okay.
But either way, she rented it. We stayed. She didn't even get there because her flight was canceled. But the bottom line is, I sat in a hotel on Thursday night, and I got to see what everybody was doing at the MACNA hotel. And I almost walked down there and got in trouble. Back to the point is that it was just a stay in a hotel. When I got to the MACNA hotel, what was the MACNA hotel? I can't think of the name.
It was the Westgate.
Westgate, thank you, I'm sorry. When I got to the Westgate, then literally I was having Bloody Marys with Jessica, and I was, in the middle of the night, I could go down and find somebody, and there was always someone everywhere. Everywhere you turned, there was someone, and you'd look over, you'd literally be in the elevator and look over, oh my God, that's Julian Sprung, like standing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's Julio. What? I mean, seriously, everywhere. Crews, all of them. I had so many amazing experiences, it's not even funny. And, Yeah, you need to stay where they're staying. I won't ever go anywhere else. I'll be staying at the hotels.
Thank you, thank you.
But and I for any reef clubs or let me think how to ask this question correctly. If you were a city, obviously no one's a city, but I'm saying it used to be that reef clubs basically, I don't know how it worked. Did they bid or did they just request? How does someone get MACNA to come to their area if they want them to? Just out of curiosity, or if you can't.
Yeah, so for let's say 20 of the past 30 years, it was kind of like the Olympics. So a club would come and bid on their ability to host the show, and they would be bidding against other clubs for a specific year or a specific location. And so as MACNA was smaller, and when MACNA was smaller, that was, it was more achievable. But as MACNA grew and grew and grew, I unfortunately have seen relationships crumble. People just kind of be crushed. It's to a point where it couldn't be run by hobbyist volunteers in their spare time. MACNA is on about a 30 to 32 month cycle. That's how far we plan out for an individual show. And so right now we're focusing on 19, but also future MACNAs. And so we needed to make sure that as MACNA grew, Mazda took on more and more responsibility starting in 2015 for the eventual handoff. So we went live with the announcement, I think in, I believe it was, I want to say June of 2016. Maybe it was that MACNA was going to take over 2018. Excuse me, that Mazda was going to take over 2018. And then we hired a professional event coordinator to be able to assist us in running the show and making sure that we had the finances in place to be able to host. And so, as you imagine, there's a lot of responsibility with this show, and 4 or 5 hobbyists in their spare time, with their day jobs and their families and their own lives and their own marine aquariums, it came to the point where it just wasn't feasible anymore. So Mazda took over the responsibility. So now we're looking for facilities that are 3 or 4 or 5 times larger than they were just 10 years ago for MACNA. So, it's my full-time job. We have full-time event coordinator, and we have contractors for all various purposes. So now it's really just it's a full-time job for many people, and not only the MACNA aspect, but all the Mazda aspects that the show supports too.
Absolutely. And I mean, that makes sense completely. You had already explained, sorry if I'm not coming through clearly, you had already explained that you have to cater to the fact that you're so much larger. That makes sense. And I love the fact that you have drama out of the equation and all that other stuff. So very good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I happen to absolutely adore your event coordinator. So good. Joanne, you're amazing. I'm sorry. I totally lost it. Okay, sorry. I was trying to read messages at the same time. I apologize, Kevin.
That's all right.
So, with the aquaculture focus for this upcoming year, what can we expect as far as, is there going to be any changes to the scheme on the floor, or is that just going to be typical vendors and the speakers will be focused on aquaculture? How are you making the 2019 scheme focused towards sustainability and aquaculture?
Well, I'm going to actually read. I'm going to read right off the MACNA.org website. So if you go right to the homepage, you scroll down just to the second place where our sponsors and our map is. So we want our exhibitors. We would call them exhibitors, not vendors. We want our exhibitors to assist us in celebrating aquaculture. And so whether we're going to be working with them to help promote the companies that will have aquaculture organisms on display, and we'll be able to let everyone know which organisms they are, or what booths they are distributing or displaying aquaculture organisms. Hi, Cruz.
They can't hear me. Go ahead.
We can't hear you, Kelly.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I can hear her, but yep, that's all right.
Finish your
So yeah, we want to promote the ethical growth of the marine aquarium hobby. We want to support captive breeding and propagation efforts, and we want to ensure the sustainable future for the marine environment. And those are all not only MACNA's goals for 2019, but for a long time now, I believe almost 10 years, those have been some of MASNA's goals as well. So we want to make sure that our exhibitors are assisting MASNA in the promotion of those aspects and promoting that through MACNA 2019. So.
Well, first of all, I would like to know if you can hear me now, because I'm seeing something really quick. Let me see if this helps any. Let me know if this has helped at all. Let me know if you can hear me now a little bit better. And if not, I'll try to change something else because we're testing. And I want to apologize to any exhibitors at MACNA, or, because I appreciate completely what you just said, and they're not there just as vendors, and I do apologize for that misspeak. So apologies to anyone. No, really, because that's important, because it's important. So as a small-time exhibitor or a small-time company, because there's a big focus and push lately as to the smaller local stores kind of being overrun. So are there options for small, and we can cut this if this is a bad question, sorry. Like I said, I wasn't prepared to interview you. But
I wasn't prepared to answer. But let's do it.
You want me to shut up? You know where I'm going. Should I shut up? I'll shut up.
Oh, I mean, so we have booths. The cheapest booth is a gray 10 by 10. So if you're a local fish store, or whomever you are, if you're interested in exhibiting, there are a few spaces left, I think, for MACNA 2019. You can email us at macnasales@masna.org. That's MACNASALES @MASNA.org. Or you can go to the contact us page on macna.org, and we'll see it there as well. Let us know that you're interested in exhibiting, and we can send you the latest floor plan. It's been changing so frequently recently that the floor plan on the MACNA.
Oh no, did I lose you? Oh no! This is why we're testing, people. Oh God. Kevin, if you're still talking, I can't hear you at all. Apologies. I'm going to stop presenting you.
How about now?
Now I hear you. Okay, cool. Because I was echoing all over heck. Okay.
Cool.
Finish what you were saying. I apologize.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
No, I said the floor plan is changing so frequently because so many people are interested in exhibiting at MACNA 2019 that the floor plan on macna.org is a bit dated at this point. So if you want the most recent up-to-date floor plan, send us an email, and we can send that back to you and let you know what's available and what prices are available for the booths that you're interested in.
I was going to say, not to be at all negative, but there were some complaints at a previous MACNA before MASNA took over, for the record. Complaints just about how things were run, and those oh my gosh, those companies and supporters came back and were very, very, very happy this year. So if you're a company that watches this, because many times I didn't announce this stream and I didn't expect to hear it, and I appreciate you coming and helping me test, but this is really good and important information, and so I am going to possibly edit it, but leave it up for sure, and maybe promote it, and because people need to know this stuff, and many companies are expanding greatly due to the fact that they got a booth at MACNA. So it's very beneficial. And not only do you get to know your customer base and meet new people, but it shows that you're supporting the support of the industry, if that makes sense. Did that make sense? That made sense to me. All right. And so, Cruz, hi. Thank you for coming. Please let me know if I'm sounding better to you now, because this is just a test, but I'm getting all this great information. Don't you always love it, people, when you do a test stream and somebody really important comes and joins? Oh, Okay, I love you, Kevin. Thank you. But it's
I'm a nobody.
no, you're not. But Cruz said that Ecosystem Aquarium is getting a booth at MACNA 2019. I know my Cindy will be there, as will I, and we're all. You guys need to hit up SB Reef, SB Reef Lights or SB Reef, because they are not only going to be a person that is exhibiting there, a company that is exhibiting there, but they will also be housing me and Cindy. So, anyways, all right, Kevin. Yeah, I know they're lucky dogs, poor things. But
I was just going to follow up with the exhibitor point of view. Yeah, if
please.
people are interested in thank you, Chris. If people are interested in having their first booth or a booth at MACNA, we want to help companies know who our attendees are. And so from the last 2 or 3 years now, we've been asking the attendees of MACNA, hey, can you take a survey for us and answer a few questions? And so if you go to macna.org and you head over to the exhibit tab across the top, that's where you can find out a lot of information about MACNA, but you can also see how we've grown over the years. And at the very bottom, you can see our attendee survey results from the past year. So we ask the attendees of MACNA a set of questions, and those questions are pretty much the same from year to year, and we change them slightly depending upon the venue. But you can see demographic information about our attendees, how many MACNAs they attend, their age, their gender, their income, and how much money they're willing to spend on MACNA for the past year, to give you some ideas. And so we have that information up so that businesses can learn. And if you need to make a financial pitch to someone else in your company, say, hey, this is why we need to be attending, that information is available there.
Gotcha. I mean, very good stuff. Okay, I have a personal question for you. Do you ever get frustrated that people can't seem to find this information easily, even though you obviously spell it out and make it obvious? Like, I feel really dumb because I couldn't find some of the information, and it's right there. So obviously I'll put the links. Right, yeah. But I mean, does it frustrate the heck out of you that it's like right there?
You know, being a nonprofit, the people that are with MACNA in some capacity, whether they're a volunteer or a contractor or an employee, you know, we're all doing a lot of jobs simultaneously. So one of my jobs is website development for the MACNA website. I'm a trained marine biologist. Right? I know nothing of website design. So it has been great to receive feedback from so many people about the difficulties that they might incur in finding information that's important to them and in turn important to everyone. So I've tried my best to lay all this out in some sort of logical place. But if anyone listening has any tips about how to redesign the menu system or the layout, or here's something you can do to help make MACNA website better, let me know, and we can implement that. I just have to learn how to do it in the back end. I didn't know too much HTML or PHP or Java before any of this started, but you have to be multi-talented to be a part of such a small organization and to accomplish show after show after show. So
I was going.
Yeah, let me know because
no. Actually, I'm sorry if I came across the wrong way. And you answered it. You answered my question extremely well, and thank you. But what I meant was that, first of all, side note, my site still isn't done, so I feel you. And second of all, no, you do provide the information. It is put out in a very, very good format, and it's just that we're all so spoiled, and yes, I said that out loud. We're all so spoiled, and so sometimes lazy that oh my gosh, I might have to search. So
yeah, I understand.
But you've
done
a good
everything
job
at their fingertips.
You've done a very good job. I like the site, and now that I have actually looked at it and researched it, it's very forthcoming. I really do like the site and think you did a good job. And I see that Haley has subscribed. I want to see if this works. So you guys, if it doesn't work, I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry really, but anyways,
go on Twitch chat.
We'll go on. No, I'm trying. I asked for someone to subscribe because I wanted to show what would happen, and it's not working. On my stream, if you looked at it, there's a wine glass in the middle of the stream, and what it's supposed to do look, I can hit test widgets, maybe. If I lose you guys, sorry. But if I tested the widgets...
Does it drop a coin?
Well, it's, I'll be quick, sorry. So...
That's all right. No, I watch a lot of
so,
Twitch and a lot of
so see
YouTube.
if it says Seahorse Whisperer has just subscribed, and it drops a little logo in there. Oh, isn't that cute? So, anyways, I was just playing with stuff because I was trying to make this better. But, anyways, it didn't work, so we'll scratch it. No big deal. Okay, so
To see if you were still there.
hi, Ray.
Oh, easy back. Hi, Ray.
What's up, Ray?
I just figured I went out to check the tomatoes because it's supposed to get frost tonight. And I come back in and I figured, well, game's over and I checked the tomatoes. So see if you're still online.
Well, I am. We are just chatting, you know, endlessly. And I'm honestly kind of testing at this point because things are, oh God, help me, I hate to say it, but it looks like things are working. The only problem that I've gotten so far is that I sound a little not great, which will be fixed once I get the microphone. But if anyone else has any feedback, please give it. If I don't see it while you're talking, because Miss Lucy is sick, I will see it later. Or message me, feel free, because I want people to feel comfortable coming to the stream, sharing their questions, sharing, you know, we've demonstrated the past few weeks, you didn't get to see it because the streams went to south, but I want people to be able to come and say, this is my seahorse, it's sick, what's wrong? Or this is my macro, what is it called? Or, you know, whatever. I want you to be able to show what you want and come share, and so I need everything to work. So thank you again to Kevin and to Ray for helping me test this out, and Cruz for giving me feedback, and Ann and everybody. But yeah, we're just chatting, so no big deal.
I think Kelly, there's a few things like the background image could be a higher resolution. There's a slight contrast problem with the timestamp in the chat and the blue in the background. It's just difficult to read. Underneath your video block, it says "Let's Chat," and then there's like this blue and white symbol, and then this weird parallelogram type of thing. I'm not sure what you're trying to accomplish there, or maybe if the layout is incorrect.
It was actually because that part I know, because you actually thankfully brought it to my attention that the background was not spread across the entire scene. So I spread the background, and everything else stayed left. So I tried to move it over, and I just couldn't pull it all off. But I do understand that. But what did you mean about the contrast? Because I would really like to understand that in general.
Oh, I mean, it's not important. You have the timestamp for the comments in the comment feed, and so just the gray of the time is difficult to read on the bluish, pinkish of the reef in the background.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if, obviously it's chronological, so I don't know if you can remove the timestamps or frame them out, but I don't think you can frame them out because that's the width of the box you have in there.
I actually can crop it, so thank you.
Okay.
I get it now. Okay.
Yep.
What are you viewing this on? Because I don't see anything like what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm watching live on YouTube. I'm watching the rebroadcast.
Yeah, we're on Ray. We're actually on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and that's why I'm trying to see if. And honestly, I can't thank you enough, Kevin, for continuing to talk to me. And I will make a video of this too. Side note, but. You know, I'm trying to see how long I can go, because one of the theories was after half an hour, Hangouts kind of shuts down on you, but not so far.
No, it's been good.
Yeah, and, you know, Kevin, Ray, you're showing your face, and Kevin was not, so I'm going to present Ray. So anybody...
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Love you, Kevin. But, no.
I don't care what I look like.
No, you look great. No, this is just to see if, because, Ray, again, what I want is for people to be able to come and say, you know, if you were having a sick seahorse, your upside down seahorse, if you didn't know how to handle it.
He's not upside down anymore.
I know. I didn't mean it like that. I meant like if someone who was not at your experience level and was new to seahorse keeping and was scared, and had a sick seahorse, and it was captive bred, and they had done all the right things, and they had followed the channel and the advice, and they still didn't know what to do, they could say, look at my seahorse, and literally show us. And people like you and Dan and me and anybody could literally say, well, I see this, I see that, maybe this, maybe that. Can you show me the filter? Can you show me the skimmer? And that kind of thing in real time. So it's a little bit better than a conversation, like a group post. And if I have the right people in here, then it's a lot better than some advice you'd get just anywhere, if that makes sense. So I want it to work, and thank you, Kevin, again, for helping me make it work. But go ahead, Ray. What were you gonna say?
What kind of seahorses have you got, Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin.
I don't have any seahorses currently. The last time I kept seahorses, I think was in 2006. Is that true? I think that's 2006. I didn't have any. It was in Minnesota. At the time, I was working in an aquarium in Minnesota, and I was not fully in charge with them. But no, I have not, as a hobbyist, kept any seahorses. But I am a supporter of all things marine aquarium and education. So I'm here to support Kelly in that regard.
Ray, just to give you the down low on that, he's a big shot. He's a marine biologist. He's Mr. Macna. He's Mr. Masna. And for some reason, he really does care about the small guy, which is me, and he tries to help all the time. So
I'm getting smaller all the time, Kevin. I used to be 5'10" and a quarter. I'm under 5'6" now.
That was awesome, Ray. I love that.
Well, it's the only thing I could think of at the time.
It was very witty. Very witty.
I think I've gotten smaller after Macna. I think I've lost maybe 10 pounds.
I bet. I bet. I can't imagine. Ray, have you?
I need to lose a lot more.
Ray, have you ever been to any like shows? I know you're.
No.
No. Do they have many shows that reach? It's Canada, right?
Well, yeah. There are some shows that hit Toronto occasionally, but nothing in the way of seahorses. But there has been marine stuff in the past. But to me, other than the early years when everybody was into LPS corals, because we couldn't get SPS at the time, and now I don't bother with it. First of all, because traveling is a pain, and second of all, because everybody's into SPS, and I don't like SPS.
Oh, you're not a stickhead. Whoa. Wow.
I like the LPS. I like to sit there and see an elegance coral flowing and with all the motion in the wind, or even a simple torch coral. The closest thing I ever had, oh Jesus, it wasn't a true SPS coral, but oh God, I wish I could think what the name was now. It was a green fluorescent coral. It was short polyps, but it wasn't. Oh God, I'll have to go to my website to look it up. Can't think. But this mild cognitive impairment, trying to remember stuff like that's just out of my range.
You're good. You're good. It's fine.
If it was something that I had done in my earlier years, like back in '94 and so on, then I'd have a better chance of remembering. But the stuff in the later years is very difficult to remember.
I think you're doing great. You come to these streams, you talk, you give great advice. Don't worry about the small stuff,
I just lose track of what I'm saying and go off on a tangent and never do finish saying what I want to say in the first place.
Again, so do I. So do I. I just did the same thing. So, people watching or joining have to understand and, kind of go with it. But, anyways, Haley is helping us on the chat, and she's telling us that everything is still looking smooth, which is awesome. I just want to let you guys know, anybody who does see this after the fact, not only did you get amazing Macna and Masna information and get to hear from Ray. And we'll hear from, more a little bit. But I was going to say that I have some really awesome interviews coming up. And the reason that I kind of sidetracked the interviews is because I wanted to get this right. So any comments you have, I don't care if they're good or bad, I want to know them. I want to know if it's coming through, if my audio's too low, and I'll test again when I get the microphone. But because I have some really important people that are doing some really amazing things, not that Ray and Kevin are not extremely important, they're just very kind and help me, and I will have them both back once I get everything figured out. But yeah, I met so many people at MACNA 2018 that want to come and share their information with you and tell you about what they're doing and how they're helping aquaculture and the hobby and the reef and the ocean and seahorses and all of it. That, I mean, this channel is going to explode. It's going to be really cool. I just wanted to get it right before I brought them on, if that makes sense. So again, I appreciate you bearing with me, and Ray and Kevin, I so appreciate you guys talking to me. Okay.
Oh, sorry I had to leave. But it was important seeing my Maple Leafs win another game.
They did win?
Yeah.
Woo! And
won 4-2.
Nice. I'm so glad. And I'm gonna make.
They won the Stanley Cup last year.
They what?
Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup last year, and tonight Toronto beat them.
Hmm. And that's good.
Actually, Washington was the better team in the first two periods, but Toronto came on enough in the third period to beat them 4-2. So that was the important part.
Have you ever talked to someone about seahorses and they literally looked at you like, "Oh, you can't see me, can you?" Well, it's a very confused stare. Like, what? What are you saying? Yeah, I'm the same way about hockey. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know. But I do have a very quick announcement to make. Yes, Kelly needs a green screen. Yes, she does. She has one. Actually, no, I'm not going to do it. I was going to call out the boyfriend. We have a green screen. He gets mad at me because I stream, and then I get upset because it didn't work out. And then he says, "I'm not putting all that stuff up for your stupid streams. I need a dedicated area. I'm working on it." But I was going to say I'm going to make an announcement now. Lucy has been bugging me, and she will be back tomorrow. She's just ill right now, and she moderates the comments. So if I missed your comment, I apologize. But she has been suggesting for quite a while and getting suggestions from others that we need to do one Wine Wednesday that's an interview with someone like, if you can't hear me, someone like Ray or Dan or Graham Short or Haley or someone. I've got a lot lined up. I can't even tell you because they're so amazing. But professionals do an interview on Wine Wednesday, and then we have an open chat just like this on Saturdays. What do you guys think? Tell me. I want your opinions. Good night, Coralvids. Thank you so much for coming and helping. Have a great evening. Thank you. I appreciate you. Go ahead, Ray.
You might get into overload going twice a week.
Well, but I've got Lucy to do it too. With a live chat like this, it doesn't have to be me. You know? It could be Dan. It could be Lucy. It could be whoever. And just someone sitting here, answering questions, talking, group kind of thing. I mean, just somewhere for people to come ask questions. But then Wednesday would be the interviews.
The problem is I have tunnel vision.
Yeah.
I've gotten myself so set on the fact that the water change in husbandry has been such a significant factor in my success in recent years that I've realized that over the last 15 years, just about all the problems I've had stem from the fact I just plain wasn't doing enough in the way of the husbandry and the water changes to eliminate the odds of all these things happening. And originally it was because nobody knew how serious it was. And then when it did get to that point where some of us were having better luck by doing more extensive husbandry, um, there still isn't any way to test to know. And so until I got really extreme after having a real bad problem some years back, once I got really extreme with my keeping, things just sort of turned around, and I haven't had problems since, with the exception of that abdominalis I lost last June after I got it in from Australia. I haven't had any losses.
Can you
And
tell me?
I no longer.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I no longer have bacterial problems like where you get the tail rot showing or spots on their sides and stuff like that. I don't get that anymore.
And I first of all, I want to thank you because I wanted to test the stream, and I do want this channel and the stream to be accessible to reef keepers also. And Magna and Masna are extremely important issues, and not issues. Duh, that was a stupid word, but you know what I mean. There are things that I want to talk about, but this is technically a seahorse channel. So thank you, Ray, for bringing me back to seahorses. And your points are extremely valid, and I can't agree with you enough. But my question is, you have admitted that you realized that when you were having all those problems, you were not doing what you needed to do. I can admit the same thing. My mom...
But it's not that I realized it at first. I was looking for something to get me out of having these problems, and I thought I would try doing more extreme changes. Because I gradually got to doing more and more as the years went by.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it was just in my head or whether it actually was having effect, I didn't know. And when I got to this point, I was having so much trouble with these erectus, kept on getting bacterial infections. And yet I was at that time still doing more than the average person that was keeping seahorses. So when I got into doing it more extreme, and now I don't have any problems anymore, either it's coincidental or it's working.
No, I think my personal thought is that once a problem occurs, no matter if it's your fault or a new ad or a rock or something stupid or the temperature drops, whatever it might be, if something goes wrong, it's like a freaking landslide. I mean, and then everything's wrong. Bottom line, with seahorses, they just don't play. Their immune systems suck, and you have to have captive bred to have any kind of chance, and then you have to be doing your diligence to make sure that it's clean and right. So no, I don't think you're wrong. I think you're absolutely right in every point. And my question is, what did you do when you decided that it might be maintenance or whatnot that was causing your problems, or when you decided that upping your maintenance might help? What did your maintenance include?
Well, basically just cycling out the crap, and I set up timers on my systems so that when I go to feed, and that's another thing. I believe that feeding more times a day does help their immune system. It makes the seahorse stronger so that he or she can fight off these problems a bit easier when they don't have that natural affinity for it. And I think feeding just 3 times a day, which I used to do, actually one time I used to only feed twice a day. And when I went to 3 times a day and was doing that for a lot of years, but I moved to 4 times a day, and I really believe, although I have no proof that I can sit and show you, I believe that it is much better for the seahorses
I agree.
and closer to what their natural situation is, where they can all day they can feed.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, when I made that decision to just try to do more, I did bigger water changes. I didn't let them go as often. Um, and instead of cleaning out the quick filters at 5 days, sometimes I would do it 3 or 4, but a lot of times, being the lazy guy that I am, I'd let it go to 5 days. Now I make sure 3 days is when I do it. I have had the odd time where I haven't been around on day 3 for one reason or another, and I've had to do it on the 4th day. But I'm trying to religiously stick to that major water change every week, and I have to do more than even anybody else because of my density of the seahorses in such a small tank. Normally, you wouldn't put more than 2 in a tank, which is what I used to have. So it's
I want to interrupt you really fast and just say for anybody watching that Ray is, has been doing this for a very long time, and he has bred seahorses and he knows seahorses and he's lived through the not knowing to the knowing, and so he has maybe more seahorses in his aquarium because he knows how to deal with it, and that's what he's describing. But anyone with a 40-30 gallon tank should stick to 1 pair for sure, please.
that's for sure.
And go
And
on.
that's what I had until my spine got worse.
Right.
And it's easier on me physically to do this basically full water change, as close to it as I can get.
Mm-hmm.
I'm changing out all the water in the tank, and I keep a bit in the sump that when I'm ready to start filling up again, I pump that back into the tank, put the seahorses back in. Either that or I leave the seahorses in just about 1.5 inches of water, and then start pumping up the new water from the basement into the tank. And once it starts mixing a bit, then I start pumping it out again. So I'm further diluting the old water that's in there. So I don't get 100% of it out, but I'll get close to it.
Mm-hmm.
If I still had just 2 seahorses in the tank, I'd be doing at least 40 to 45% every week, and doing a major cleaning at the same time.
Quick question.
That wouldn't stop me from doing every 3 days any filter pads that are in there, cleaning those out.
Absolutely. Quick question. When you're doing such large water changes, how do you compensate for, or have you ever had issue with, like the good bacteria that performs the nitrogen cycle, like failing because you took out too much?
That's all benthic.
Like in the rock, in the media, right? Okay, but I mean, I just wondered because you're talking about changing the media. I don't know your system. Do you have a lot of rock?
I don't. I have live rock in the sump.
Okay. There you go. Okay.
And I have quick filters that, while there might be some nitrification going on there, it's insignificant compared to the live rock.
Gotcha.
So I have no biological filter other than the rock in the sump.
Gotcha. And your live rock, was it live? I mean, it was live rock when you got it? You didn't cycle it?
Well, when I got it, it was plenty live when I got it for reef tank.
Gotcha.
But when I started up the saltwater tanks, I sterilized it.
Oh, okay.
I've sterilized 2 ways. I've sterilized with bleach and then used Chloromex to neutralize it. And I've also used hydrogen peroxide.
Yes.
I can't get the strong stuff that Dan gets. He gets something at 30-odd%, but the stuff here in Canada, I can only get 25%. But it's it's good enough.
Yes, it is, and it's much better than nothing. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I'm not buying 5-gallon containers, so.
Do you know that most people don't even understand the benefits of peroxide? They don't even know. We're gonna have to talk a lot more, right? We're gonna have to tell these
Well,
people.
I think it's a great thing, especially if you're raising fry,
Mm-hmm.
um, for treating your Artemia with the peroxide before you add them into the tank. Like you hatch them out, on grow them until they develop to the second instar stage, and you can enrich them. Enrich them for 2 12-hour periods, then treat them with the peroxide. Now I don't have fry anymore, so I'm not as fussy with the peroxide. When I grow these Artemia, I grow them to adults.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes me 7 or 8 weeks to get them to full-size adults.
Sure.
And at that point, they're reproducing live-born. And so I just take a fairly coarse mesh net and take out the adults, and I can leave that container going. They're 26-gallon Rubbermaid containers, and so I can keep a container going on a long time just by once I get them there, and then they're producing the offspring. And then I'll start another one on the side, so it'll be ready when the first container's gone. And I used to have piles of these because I used to sell adult brine shrimp to stores around here,
That's awesome.
and then they'd resell them to the customers.
Wow.
But that's something I did for a couple decades. Anyway, now I forgot what our main topic was, and I got sidetracked.
It's okay. I was just asking you. I mean, it started off with. Yeah, I forgot to.
Yeah, yeah, like I just started off doing more than what I was doing to see if anything happened, and something happened. And what happened was that it wasn't happening anymore.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I just
stopped getting these bacterial problems. I stopped getting the internal organ problems. So I haven't used Diamox or anything like that in I don't know how long now. I know it's a couple of years anyway.
Well, I want to say, Haley, I saw your question. I'm going to answer it in like 2 seconds. But Ray, do you? I have one personal question for you. Do you feed live foods or do you feed always frozen foods?
No, I feed live foods as well.
Okay.
That's so that I can get them the high DHA component.
And what's your
just
sorry.
one or two feedings a week.
Sure.
Where I'll feed them live food, and basically it ends up it's about a tablespoon of enriched adult Artemia, not juveniles, not newborn, because they don't even look at seahorses this size don't even look at newborns.
Right. No, I agree. No, the reason that I was asking is because I understand exactly what you're talking about with peroxide and making sure that your Artemia hatchery, your brine shrimp hatchery, is clean. Because Cheryl Taylor has actually already so. Anyways, Haley, the answer to your question is that when you try to breed seahorses and you have them growing up and you have to feed them live foods, or if you have if you have to feed live foods, hatcheries are dirty as heck. You would be amazed. And hydrogen peroxide has amazing abilities to make things better. And Cheryl has already done videos with me to establish this, and I just haven't gotten them posted yet, but they're coming. They are coming, so.
I'm more critical when I was raising the fry to